For this video, we are working with systolic blood pressure, and we are told that it is normally distributed. That's a key word. We are told the mean, and we are told the standard deviation. So those are all of the details that we need to create a well-labeled shaded picture. So I'll start off with attempting to sketch normal curves. I'm aiming for a symmetrical bell curve. I'm putting in a horizontal axis. And right in the middle of that is where I put the mean, which is 120. I mark off thirds on each half, and those are representing 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations. To the right, I'm going above, so those are positive. To the left, I am going below the mean, and so those are negative values. So I'm going to use the standard deviation up here of 5.6 to label the axis. So I know above the mean is where I add the standard deviation of 5.6. And below the mean is where I subtract the standard deviation of 5.6. So I worked ahead a little bit. If you need to pause the video here so that you can do that addition and subtraction, please do. I'm going to write in the values that I got. So 125.6, 131.2, and 136.8. And on the other side, I had 114.4, 108.8, and 103.2. So if you need additional help, if you go back a video, I walked you through all the math for that, even though I didn't show you all the details here. So the next thing that they're telling me is that I am looking for the percent of normal adults with a blood pressure in the range of 125 to 130. So I'm going to estimate where both of those are on my curve. So 125 would just be right before 125.6. So right in here, right before my 1 standard deviation mark. And 130 would be just before 131. So right in here is 130. And we are estimating between, so I'm going to shade in between them. So at this point, I have a well-labeled shaded picture. So now, it asked me, in a group of 57 normal adults, how many people would you expect to have a systolic blood pressure be in this range? And it asked me up here, well, what percent would be in this range? So I want to try to answer both of those questions. This is where I am relying on technology to help me out. So I am using the app from the Dana Center, and we got that from a link in Blackboard, and we're going to the normal distribution. Once the app opens, we're going to the second tab to find probability. Here we'll need to type in the mean of 120, the standard deviation of 5.6. And then one of the really cool things in the app here is that it actually does label this curve for you. So it gives you a chance to double check all the labeling that you did and make sure that you have those values correct. Type of probability for us is a between one, so an interval. My lower value is 125. My upper value is 130. So I type all that in, and the image adjusts to match what I have on my picture. And I see that it is 14.89% that are in between 125 and 130. So answering this first question, what percent? The answer is 14.89. If I would add that to my image, this section in here is 14.89%. Now, it asks me an additional question, and the answer is to be how many people. And it tells me there's a group of 57. So I have to think back to what I know about percent. So I know that I can put a percent over 100, and that is equal to the part over the total. There are other ways to do percentages, but we had done them by proportion, and then we would solve by cross product. So I know the percent, so I will put 14.89 over 100. In the second fraction, I do not know the part. They're asking me how many people that would be, so that's where I'll put my X. And then I do know the total is it's out of the group of 57. So from here, I'm going to cross multiply. So on my calculator, I am taking 14.89 times the 57. And so I have 100x is equal to 848.73. And then I finish this off by dividing by 100. And I get 8.4873. And since this is people, it makes sense to me to round to a whole number. So looking at the tenths, that is a 4. And so I would round down to, I would expect 8 people out of the group to be in this range, from 125 to 130. If you need to review percents, we did them early on in the semester, and you can go back. That would have been lesson 4 or week 4 of the semester where we learned about percentages.